Hi, welcome to Copenhagen. Thanks for dropping in. Hope everybody is doing well. Today I want to show how I prepare a double-sided adhesive canvas before I actually start working on it. Okay, so this is the next project that I will be starting in a few days. I'm just about to finish the hoverfly, which has 8 to 9 colours, and then I will be prepping up and starting this one, which is the entrance to Tivoli in Copenhagen, second oldest amusement park in the world. I took a picture of their Halloween display at their main entrance and tweaked it and got it converted into a diamond painting. So I thought it would be an idea to show how I prep double-sided adhesive diamond paintings. So the first thing I've done is I've actually taped this at the corners to the table just to hold it still while I do the stuff that I have to do. And the first thing is remove the original cover. So I just completely remove the cover. So peel the whole thing back, and I won't be using this again. I don't reuse the covers. I use release paper, but I'll show that as I go, and I'll explain why I use release paper. The first time that, in fact it was my very first diamond painting, was double-sided adhesive, and the way that I worked that was basically I would peel up, get around where I can actually reach it. I would peel up a section and then take it back, get a pair of scissors and cut a strip, and then fold over this section. So this would be folded back up here, this would still be stuck down, and that would leave me a rectangle to work in. And then the next section I would do the same thing, and basically work it that way, which does work. But I moved over to release paper because I just think it's a lot more convenient. So I'll take this off. Now the first thing with double-sided adhesive is it is very likely that you will get air bubbles underneath the glue. They show as a sort of silver line, and I've noticed this does have some, but the thing is, what you have to do is move around so the light hits the glue at different angles, because where I'm standing at the moment it looks like everything is absolutely fine. Now I've got a small craft knife, very sharp knife, and I'm going over here because the light from the window highlights the air bubbles. So what I'm going to do, just need to make a bit more space, is I'm going to look along and look for the air bubbles, and when I see them, just slice along them. And the reason for this is because when this was made, a sheet of glue was put down, just like a massive sheet of double-sided tape. When it's been put down, there is some air that has been trapped between the glue and the canvas, and that shows us these little ridges that probably on camera you won't see because the angle is wrong, but I can see them if I look along from this side towards the window. And what I'm doing is I'm scoring through the bubbles, not cutting through the canvas, but just getting the air bubbles. The reason for that is if I don't do that and I put the drills down, when I put them down they will look like they're going down okay, but after a bit of time they will lift up. The air that's trapped underneath the glue has to go somewhere, and it basically starts to pop back up again. And what happens is when you finish your diamond painting and you've got it up on the wall and you look at it, you will see just lines of drills that are just different from the rest. and that is because they have lifted up on the air bubble and the light hits them at a different angle, so they become very obvious. So rather than waiting for that to happen, spend a bit of time and just look from all angles. Take your time, isn't a race. Look for any air bubbles, just go through them. Got some quite long ones here. But I know this does work because I had one a while back that I unboxed from Wish, and it was a lot worse than this. And I did all of this at the beginning to prep it. When I finished it, the diamond painting was absolutely flat. There were no ridges, no drills were lifting up, everything looked perfect. So taking time to do this preparation really is worth it in the long run. And if you go over an air bubble and then as you're doing it you forget if you've actually cut that one, just do it again. And all it does is releases the air, so the sheet of glue sits down and you won't have any problems. The larger the diamond painting is, the more chance you've got of getting these. And some people will avoid double-sided adhesive because of this. They don't want the hassle, they don't want to take the chance that they get air bubbles. But I do this every time I have double-sided adhesive. You don't always get air bubbles, but it's best to expect them. The main thing is you know how to deal with it, and the diamond painting will look better if you do this first. If you don't, you can actually do it after you've finished. If you see drills raised up, you can put your thin blade between the drills and slice it again to let the air out, but I prefer to do all this at the beginning. It takes time, especially when you've got quite a few like I have in this one. This one has been waiting probably over a year to get started, but I didn't bother doing this then. I prefer to do all of this just before I start a picture. And you don't have to do the whole thing the way that I'm doing it. You could actually put your release paper or your cover, however you want to work it, on the picture and just cut the air bubbles as you go, section by section. But I prefer to just get the whole thing done. The main thing is make sure that your knife is very sharp, because you don't want to drag the glue. If you drag the glue, you're going to cause more problems, because it'll pull up on itself and it'll cause lumps of glue, which would be very hard to fix. So I think that's pretty much it for that side. Just need to go around this side. Put a different light on. So that helps me see. A lot of companies now only do poured glue, and you don't have this problem with the poured glue because they actually pour the glue onto the canvas, so it's not a massive sheet of double-sided tape and you don't get air bubbles. and most people prefer that. This side actually isn't as bad. As I said, you don't have to do all of this. I mean, I probably will as I go, just double check. Because of the setup I've got, I can't stand exactly where I would like to be to see the bubbles. So I'll probably have to do some sections just as I lift the sheet of release paper. I'll use the lamp on the table and just tilt it at different angles and make sure that I don't have any air bubbles. So you can probably hear that I'm like scraping over the canvas, I'm not cutting through it. That'll do for now. Now the main thing, release paper. This is what I use. I'll switch that light back off, I think. This is double-sided release paper, so it's shiny on both sides, which means it doesn't matter which side I put on the glue, it will peel off. Some release paper is single-sided, so if you have that, you have to be very careful that you don't put the dull side on the glue because it will stick. I do have a video about release paper and the differences, and I will put that up here. So the only other thing that I've done that I didn't do just now is I use a drafting table to work on these, and what I did was I sat at the table and reached as far as was comfortable for me. So I measured it and it was about 42 centimetres. The reason for that is I don't want to be overstretching while I'm working, and what I do is I do one half, start here, work along, work along, work along, work along until I get to the 42 centimetres, and then I turn the whole thing round and then I start and do the same thing again. In fact, I actually start from the centre up. That way the whole picture develops and step by step going up the way. So I'm going to set up this half. So what I do is I actually put the release papers in reverse order of how I'm going to peel them off. It'll make more sense as I start to put it together. Now I have a choice. I can either do the paper up and down, or I can do the paper across the way. Doesn't make any difference. It's just whatever you prefer. I prefer to do up and down so that when I've done this whole strip, it's a bit more rather than that. So what I do is I start where I'm going to finish. So I've got a little pen mark that I put at 42 centimetres, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up with that, and what I'm doing is I'm making sure it overlaps, it goes off the glue, so that when I go to pick it up, I've got an easy piece to pick up. If I stick it in the glue, it's more awkward to pick up. So that's one, and then what I do is I just basically follow the line and again overlap, because when I'm going to pick them up I can just pick up from this side. And these release papers have been used I don't know how many times. They are reusable. I just find it easier to do it this way because I work in relatively small sections, and when you're doing this it's really up to you what size, because I could overlap, make the overlap bigger, which would make the section you're working on a bit smaller. So you can sort of predetermine the size of area that you're going to work on. So, and then I've got this one, but if I want to keep the key, I need to put it as close as I can without actually going on the key. So that would be about there. But the thing is, I've got the overlap to pick this up, so I would do this as just a thin strip and then go to the next one. So doing the whole thing backwards. So again, start at this side. Always give an overlap at the top as well. So you can see, you don't have to be so accurate. I just like it to look tidy. So I try and do a section a day if I can, but when you have diamond paintings like this, they are confetti heaven or confetti hell, depending on what you think of confetti. I really don't mind doing it. As I said, the one that I'm just about to finish has 8 to 9 colours, so I'm well used to doing these things. A lot of people don't have the patience, and I understand that, but it really doesn't bother me. So we'll see how this worked. This actually worked okay. Sometimes you might find that you come down and then you've got a gap like that. What I would do is turn them sideways and do the bottom row that way, if it's just a narrow piece. But I've actually locked out of this, so I can overlap and it covers the whole thing. So as I said, I try and do a section a day. That's the sort of target, to get one section done. So what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a bit. 18, maybe 19 days to do this much, if I can stick to that. It doesn't always happen. It also depends how much confetti you've got, but this whole thing is confetti. There are very, very, very few areas that have a block of the same colour. So it's just basically constant confetti. So that's that side done. And then, because I work it from here, I start here, so my first section would be this, and then that would be completed, and then that would be my next section, and then that would be completed, that would be my next section. So the way that I want to work it, so when I'm taking pictures for WIP Wednesdays, it continues on with the picture. I would want to start, I need to turn the thing around, it's going to be easier. So as I said, I just taped it to the table so the thing didn't slide about while I was doing that. So just use normal masking tape, because it peels off really easy and it doesn't leave a mess. Oops. Shouldn't have done that. Okay, I'm going to have to take a guess with this when I turn it, because I can't see the camera. So what I'll do is I'll use this and this as rough guidelines to where the corners are. Try not to move them. As I said, I can't see the screen, so if this second half is out a bit, it's too bad. But already you've got the idea of how I do it. So if I bring this up to here, and bring this, needs to go further up, I think. So hopefully that's near enough. I'm only turning it around because I can't really reach from the other side. It's quite a long table that I've got it on. So, as I said, I like the picture to continue. So this would be finished, and then I turn the canvas around and I want to start it where I'm going to finish. So what I would do is start here, because this is going to be my last piece. So I'm basically working the thing backwards. So, and this means that when I start the first piece, I'll be starting up here. And then I'll just work back the way. When you do the big ones, you get used to working upside down and sideways and backways and all over the place. But it's just for the whip pictures, the work in progress pictures, so that I'm not sort of doing half the picture and then I've got a big gap that I'm connecting back up again. Because if I started here, it would mean that people would see this section completed, then this would all be filled, like covered over, because I haven't done it, and then this rectangle, so it would look kind of weird. So the way that I want to do it is start here, that'll join on to the rest of the picture, work my way along. So it's just a matter, again, making sure overlap, go over the glue, make sure it's slightly past the edge of the glue. That way it's easy to pick up, but you can always get it from here as well. This one's actually going to work out pretty well. I'm never sure when I start them how things are going to line up, but the top row is going to fit, so everything's going to be sitting the same way, which I like. Just got a little strip at the end. Just makes you feel as if you're doing it quicker. Or what I would probably do with these is I would take this piece and this piece off and just make it one slightly bigger bit. Again, leaving the key so I can see it if I need to refer to it. But I do have an A4 sheet of paper. I'll probably work from that. It makes things a bit easier. The big thing when you're doing that though is make sure your A4 paper does not touch the glue, because it will stick and it will rip. So a little bit squint, do that again. That's what I like about these things, it's really easy to peel them back up. As I said, these have been used many times. They last for a very long time, and again, I don't have to worry about which side I'm putting down because they're double-sided. If I was using the original cover, this stuff, you can do that. You could cut this, get a ruler, cut them into the sizes you want. Problem if you're doing it and it's your first diamond painting is you only have enough to cover the canvas. You don't have enough to overlap them. So if I put them all out so they weren't overlapping, I would have a bigger area. This is only big enough to cover, so I wouldn't have enough of this to make the overlap. But if I had another diamond painting and kept the cover for that, then I can start making them like this. The thing is, if you do that, don't ever put it with the print side down because it will stick. I just find the cover sheets just easy. They're all pre-cut, they're exactly the same size. It's no hassle. It's not as if you have to buy them for every diamond painting. I've been using these for a long time and they're absolutely fine. They will go for years. So for me, it's well worth it, just for the convenience and the neatness. I don't have to sit and measure and cut things and remember to put them the right way around. I just put them on when I need them. So that's it, done. So as I said, I would do this section first, and then when I start the next part I would start there. So that would be joined onto that. As I said, I would probably actually take off two, and I would do that as one section and then just work my way along. When I set myself a target of 1 day per rectangle, it gives me an idea how long I've got left. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, see what, 38, 39 maybe. 39 days worth of work, roughly. So that's it. As I said, I thought it may be of interest to people who are new to release paper or double-sided adhesive, didn't really know what it was and the problems with it. The air bubbles is the thing that people complain about the most. As I said, a sharp craft knife will fix that. You won't have any problems. But it's a good idea to take the air out before you do it. As I said, I cut most of them there. A lot of people probably wouldn't do that. What they would do is when they were going to start, for example, I would be starting here, take these two off, and then just tilt a lamp or something, or a light, so you can see at different angles, because certain ways you look at it you won't see the air bubbles. When you see the air bubbles, slice through them. Once you've sliced them in this section, if there are any, you can do this section, move on to the next one. Again, first thing you want to do is check it under the light, look for air bubbles, slice them, do that section. But I like to try and get as much of it done right at the beginning before I even start. But as I said, if you forget to do it and you get to the end and you're looking at it and you can see the drills are popping up in lines, if you've got a thin bladed craft knife, you can still get between the drills and slice the air bubbles to let the air out and let the drills drop. It is more awkward though, so I would definitely recommend that you do it before, but it is fixable. So that's it. Next project, and these are the colours, 90 colours. It's a 60 by 80 and it's Tivoli at Halloween. So that is how I prepare my double-sided adhesive canvases. I always check for air bubbles. That is the first thing that I look for, and I use the little craft knife to slice through all those bubbles before I start. As I said, on the bigger ones it can take quite a bit of time. You tend to find that the larger they are, the more chance the air is going to get trapped. After saying that, I did unbox one from Wish that wasn't that big, and it had a lot of air bubbles, and I took that as a test. When I did the unboxing, quite a few people commented and said you should just throw that away and get another one. I decided to actually see if I could fix it, and surprisingly it worked. I sliced all of the bubbles, and when I finished the diamond painting it looked absolutely fine. The drills sat completely flat, had no problems with it. So ever since then I haven't been too worried when I see air bubbles. I just slice them, and so far I haven't had any problems. People get a bit apprehensive when they get the double-sided adhesive ones, because they know there's a chance of getting these bubbles, but really I haven't found them to be that much of a problem. It is a pain, to be honest, to have to sit and look over it, change the angle of the light as well. That's quite important, because sometimes when you look at it, it looks fine, and you maybe just move your head to the side, or maybe you go for a coffee and when you're walking back you suddenly see these little lines that you didn't see before. So you could either move your light, if you've got a lamp, move your light source, or just turn the canvas. Look at it one way, turn it a quarter turn, have a look at it again, and just take your time, slice through them. As I said, don't press really hard, because your better half may not like it if you hack into the dining room table. So you really don't need a lot of pressure. The main point is have a very sharp craft knife and just basically drag the knife along. It'll easily cut through the glue and hopefully not cut through the canvas. So that's the way that I prep up. I thought some people who are new, or maybe people who have had them before and weren't really sure how to fix the bubbles, it might have given you an insight. Also showed why I use release paper. I just find it so much easier. Just reuse these sheets every time. I always use them. It doesn't matter what size the diamond painting is. The first thing that I do when I'm getting ready to actually work on it is remove the original cover, whether it's the clear cover or the opaque one, and place the sheets in the reverse order of how I plan to do the picture. So as I said, hope somebody out there found it useful, and if you did, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification button. If you do that, you may catch me on YouTube Live. I do random lives. I don't have set days or times, it's just really when I can fit it in. So you may get a notification that I've gone live. If you do, please drop in and chat. Doing whipping chats or work in progress and chats only really works when people chat. So if you fancy dropping in and just having a bit of a chinwag about diamond painting or pretty much anything, I'm always happy to talk to people around the world, have a bit of fun. So if that appeals to you, as I said, subscribe, hit the notification button, and you may catch me live. As I said in the video, I am just about to finish the hoverfly, which a lot of people have seen step by step as I've been working on it. I think maybe another 2 days and it'll be done. It has 8 to 9 colours. So the Tivoli at Halloween has 90. So if you're interested in seeing that one gradually build up, please follow me on Instagram. That's Diamond Painting Jim on Instagram. And I post up a picture every Wednesday. Sometimes I'll fire one up at the weekends if I feel I've done enough to justify it. And you can see the Halloween picture gradually build up. I find that when you see the canvas, it really doesn't give you a good idea of what the picture will look like, especially when they are confetti heavy, which these certainly are. So what I'm actually meant to do with the hoverfly was take a picture before I started it and take a picture after I'd finished it, and I forgot. So I might do that with the Halloween one, so we see a before and after, and there is quite a difference. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and in the meantime, take care, be safe, and wash your hands.